بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا وأنت تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. أسأل الله تبارك وتعالى أن يجعل نياتنا خالصة لوجهه الكريم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. I pray that all of you are in a state of al-afiyah. I pray that all of you woke up in a state of shukr, gratitude to Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala for the countless endowments that Allah has bestowed upon all of us. If we try to enumerate the favors of Allah upon us, we can never count them. There are so many. And among the greatest, or should I say the greatest, endowment of Allah upon us is al-imanu billahi wa rasulih, is to have the correct belief in Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala and His Messenger. And please excuse us for missing the start of Minhaj al-Abidin for Imam al-Ghazali this morning, but our platform could not connect to Facebook. So we had this issue, and it just came up like 5 minutes ago. It was fixed. So even though we canceled the Post-Fajr reflection and the Minhaj class, I said still come on and give some fawaid, some benefits, and inshallah we'll continue where we left off tomorrow. So those who might have went and did something else won't miss the class that they were expecting. But this is a good opportunity to prepare ourselves for, since I have our reader, mashallah, we can still benefit, to prepare ourselves for our discussion tonight, as we have many issues that we want to discuss. So quickly, since our reader has come, mashallah, I want you to benefit something. And these are things that will help us. So we read them over and over again, inshallah. I want to quickly, if you go to one, oh, I did. I brought something. Good. I want to read 3 quick biographies again as a reminder, and I want us to record them. So inshallah, if you go to page in your Reliance of the Traveler, go to page 1086. Let me switch this. We got it? That is X285, Imam al-Nawawi. Inshallah, al-Fatiha to the soul of Imam al-Nawawi. Let's read about Imam al-Nawawi. Bismillah.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulillah. The author, may Allah Ta'ala have mercy on him, said, Imam Nawawi. Introduction is Yahya ibn Sharaf ibn Muri ibn Hassan Abu Zakaria Muhyiddin al-Nawawi, born in the village of Nawa on the Haran plain of southern Syria in 631. He was the Imam of the later Shafi'i school, the scholar of his time in knowledge, piety, and abstinence, a hadith master, hafid, biographer, lexicologist, and Sufi. When he first came to Damascus in AH 649, he memorized the text of Abu Ishaq's Shiraji's el-Tanbih, the Noticed, in 4.5 months. Then the first quarter of Shiraji's el-Muhaddab, the Rarefaction, after which he accompanied his father on Hajj, then visited Medina, and then returned to Damascus, where he assiduously devoted himself to mastering the Islamic sciences. He took Shafi'i law, hadith, tenets of faith, fundamentals of jurisprudence, Arabic, and other subjects from more than 22 scholars of the time, including Abu Ibrahim Ishaq al-Maghribi, Abdurrahman ibn Qudama al-Maqdisi, and others at a period of his life in which, as the hobby notes, his dedication to learning night and day became proverbial. Spending all his time in either worship or gaining sacred knowledge, he took some 12 lessons a day, only dozed off in the night at moments when sleep overcame him, and drilled himself on the lessons he learned by heart by walking along the street. Fastidious in detail and deep in understanding of the subjects he thus mastered, he authored many great works in Shafi jurisprudence, hadith, history, and legal opinion, among the best known of which are his Minhaj al-Talibin, The Seeker's Road, which has become a main reference for the Shafi school, Riyad al-Salihin, The Gardens of the Righteous, and Kitab al-Adhkar, The Book of Remembrances of Allah, in Hadith, and his 18-volume Shah Sahih Muslim, Commentary on Muslim Sahih. He lived simply, and it is related that his entire wardrobe consisted of a turban and an ankle-length shirt, thobe, with a single button at the collar. After a residence in Damascus of 27 years, he returned the books he had borrowed from charitable endowments, bade his friends farewell, visited the graves of his sheikhs who had died, and departed, going first to Jerusalem and then to his native Nawa, where he became ill at his father's home and died at 45 years of age in 676, young in years but great in benefit to Islam and the Muslims.
And here, Imam al-Nawawi, rahimahullah ta'ala, is famous for his commentary on Sahih Muslim. And I wanted to point something to you. Is it here? Yes. That is something about three scholars I'm going to mention to you. So the first is Imam al-Nawawi. Imam al-Nawawi, because he was the earliest of them, the three scholars that I'm going to mention, as the author mentioned, he wrote a famous commentary on Sahih Muslim, which is called Sharh Sahih Muslim by Imam al-Nawawi. In this book, Imam al-Nawawi, rahimahullah ta'ala, cleared Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from any of the attributes of the creation. And among the attributes of the creation is movement, rest, transferring from one place to another. And in his explanation of the hadith of An-Nuzul, which is the hadith that the outward meaning would indicate descent, as someone reads that hadith and they said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala during the last third of the night descends to the lowest heaven. And Imam al-Nawawi, when he explained that, and here some of us like to talk about proofs. Here's the book, Sharh Sahih Muslim. And Imam al-Nawawi, here, I'll move it, is his commentary on this hadith, right? So the text is here. This book, published by Darul Ma'rifah, volumes 5 and 6, on page 279. It is the commentary of Imam al-Nawawi. For you who don't read Arabic, I'm going to translate, but I want to highlight some points. I want to show you something, because a lot of times we have people misguiding people in the name of Islam, and sometimes they don't know they're misguiding people. So it is the job of people who learn to clarify and express, right? With the books. These books are, as the author mentioned, the translator mentioned, the most famous commentary, well known, which no one does without, on Sahih Muslim, the commentary of Imam al-Nawawi. So some people, they say, as you may read in these translations, let me find it, this so-called Noble Quran, and I'm going to be explicit, which has things in it, if you fall into believing in them, you will fall into kufr, disbelief. I'm going to be honest with you. And these books that are put in front of us have many mistakes, especially in Aqidah. Here, in this introduction, as you see the introduction, so you'll know where I'm at. Roman numeral number 9. It reads, وَالْإِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ. It says that Allah is present over his throne, which is wrong. As mentioned in the Quran, Surah 20, verse 5. Ar-Rahmanu al-Arsh istawa. It says, the most merciful Allah, istawa, rose over the mighty throne, over the seventh heaven. And he only comes down over the first nearest heaven to us on the day of Arafat, which is Hajj, the 9th of Dhul Hijjah, and also during the last part of the night, as mentioned by the Prophet ﷺ. And he is with us by his knowledge only, not by his personal self, bidhatihi. So he said he's above the throne, and he only comes down during the day of Arafat and the last third of the night. I want you to see what Imam al-Nawawi said about this coming down, about Allah. Listen to Imam al-Nawawi. He said, قال النووي رحمه الله تعالى, Imam al-Nawawi mentioned, and this is in the commentary. He said, قوله صلى الله عليه وسلم ينزل ربنا كل ليلة إلى السماء الدنيا فيقول من يدعوني فأستجيب له. This statement, which they're literally translating to means that our Lord descends every night to the lowest heaven, and he says, who is calling on me that I may answer him? That's how they translate it. The translation is wrong. It's not befitting to say Allah descends with the literal meaning. That's not befitting. I'm explaining to you as I go along. They said this, and Ahl Sunnah say something totally different. Here's Imam al-Nawawi. Listen to what he said. There, I showed you in this book they call the Noble Quran, what they said on page Roman number 9. They said that Allah is above the throne and he only comes down, wal-iyadhu billah, and he only comes down during the last third of the night and on the day of Arafat. He comes down, up, down. That's what they said. Look what Imam al-Nawawi said. He said, هذا الحديث, this hadith, من أحاديث الصفات, are among the hadith of the attributes of Allah. وفيه مذهبان مشهوران للعلماء, and there are two famous schools of thought for the scholars. He mentions two, right? He said, سبق إيضاحهما في كتاب الإيمان. We already clarified these 2 points, these two madhabs, in the book of faith. Before this book, because this is in the book of prayer, he talked about these attributes and the positions of the ulama in the book of Iman, in another hadith. He said, وَمُقْتَصَارُهُمَا, and the summary of these two schools, أَنَّ أَحَدُهُمَا, that one of them, وهو مذهب جمهور السلف وبعض المتكلمين. He said it is the school of the majority of the Salaf, those early Muslims, and some of the scholars of Kalam. He said, أنه يؤمن بأنها حق على ما يليق بالله تعالى. He said it is that it is believed in this attribute, right? That it is true in a way that befits Allah. Now listen to what Imam an-Nawawi said. We believe in it, that this is an attribute and it is befitting of Allah. He said, وَأَنَّ ظَاهِرَهَا الْمُتَعَارَفَ فِي حَقِّنَا غَيْرُ مُرَادٍ. Very important line, Imam an-Nawawi said. And its apparent meaning that is known to us is not the intended meaning. Let me repeat that. He said, أنه يؤمن بأنها حق على ما يليق بالله تعالى. We believe, that is the Salaf, and the majority of the Salaf, and some of the Mutakallimun, which was Al-Khalaf, the later scholars, the scholars of Ilm al-Kalam, that the ones say, oh, don't speak about theology. Imam an-Nawawi mentioned them explicitly, along with the Salaf. And what did he say? We believe in the attribute that is true in a way that befits Allah, right? We believe that the attribute is true in a way that befits Allah. وَأَنَّ ظَاهِرَهَا الْمُتَعَارَفَ فِي حَقِّنَا غَيْرُ مُرَادٍ. And the apparent meaning that comes to our understanding, that we know very well, غَيْرُ مُرَادٍ. That's not the meaning. And what do we know when we say someone descends? Movement from one place to another, from an upper location to a lower location, as this unbefitting translation said, that Allah only comes down. That's what we know. What did Imam an-Nawawi say? That's not the meaning. He said, listen, continue. He said, وَلَا يُتَكَلَّمُ فِي تَعْوِيلِهَا. And the Salaf, those early Salaf, the majority of them, and some of the scholars of Kalam, they didn't talk about a figurative interpretation. They accepted it as Allah revealed it, the apparent meaning, not the intended meaning. They didn't make figurative interpretation. He said, مع اعتقاد تنزيه الله تعالى عن صفات المخلوق. In addition to that, not making figurative interpretation, they believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is divinely transcendent from any of the attributes of created things. So they recited the verse, they believe, or the hadith, they believed in it, that it's real, it's true in relation to Allah as befits Him, and the apparent meaning that comes to our mind that we know is not the intended meaning. They don't make figurative interpretation. In addition to that, they declare Allah transcendent from attributes of the creation. Then the next, he said, وَأَنِ الْإِنْتِقَالِ وَالْحَرَكَاتِ وَسَائِرِ سِمَاتِ الْخَلْقِ. And that Allah is clear from al-intiqal. Al-intiqal is transferring from one location to another location. Al-intiqal. He said Allah is clear from intiqal. He doesn't go from one place to another place. Wal harakat, and movement. Descending is movement. Allah is clear from movement. This is Imam al-Nawawi. Wasair simat al-khalq, and every other attribute of the creation. That's Imam al-Nawawi. Here it is. And for those who attribute to Allah movement and location, read it. This is what Imam al-Nawawi mentioned in the most famous explanation of Sahih Muslim. So we cannot say it's right there where that marker is. And I'll bring it closer. I know some of you don't read Arabic, but I read it and I translated for you. For those who say, oh, well, he's tricking us with Arabic. Here's the words right here. Imam al-Nawawi, here's the book. Everyone say, where's your dalil? Here's your dalil. This is Sahih Muslim's explanation, and this is Imam al-Nawawi. Not Amin Muhammad. It's Imam al-Nawawi. He said that this does not mean that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala moves, that Allah has going from one place to another, as they falsely mention in this book, so-called Noble Quran, that he's above his throne and he only comes down, which is movement, which is going from location to location. Imam al-Nawawi said that's not the meaning. You misunderstood. So are we going to accept the great scholars whom the nation has agreed on their scholarship, like Imam al-Nawawi, or are we going to agree with the false interpretations of the Saudi scholars who want to pervert our religion? Which one? Choose. Imam al-Nawawi, the great Hafiz of Hadith, over 100,000 Hadith, the great scholar of fiqh in the Shafi'i's fiqh, who is the relied upon opinion in the school, the great biographer, the great knowledge of Arabic language, or these people, who we're going to accept. Imam al-Nawawi mentioned, no, that's not the meaning. I'm not finished. That's Imam al-Nawawi, right? And you could go through his book, and everywhere they mention him, you see Imam al-Nawawi make the same explanation. I'm going to stop there, because we're going to stop at, that's just one madhab. He went and talked about the Khalaf, but we're going to move on, inshallah. Could you go to Al-Qurtubi? Al-Qurtubi, which is page 1000. So Imam al-Nawawi died 676. So these are early scholars. And these are the famous books, Imam al-Nawawi, right? So we know how he explained the hadith in Sahih Muslim, right? Go to, before we go to Qurtubi, no, let's go to Al-Qurtubi, because Al-Qurtubi is right after An-Nawawi. I want to show you the chains of how these scholars were connected. So go ahead to Imam Al-Qurtubi in your Reliance of the Traveler. Let's keep our books, right? We're researching now. Go to Imam Al-Qurtubi, page 1090, X 301.
Imam Qurtubi is Muhammad ibn Ahmed ibn Abu Bakr ibn Farah Abu Abdullah al-Ansari al-Qurtubi of Cordova in present-day Spain, a Maliki scholar and hadith specialist. He was one of the greatest imams of Quranic exegesis, an ascetic who divided his days between worshipping and writing. Educated in hadith by masters like Ali ibn Muhammad al-Yasabi and al-Hassan ibn Muhammad al-Bakri, he wrote works in the sciences of hadith and tenets of faith. Though his enduring contribution is his 20-volume Al-Jami li Ahkam, Al-Quran, the compendium of the rules of the Quran, from which he mainly omitted the stories and histories customary in other commentaries.
Write this book highlighted, Al-Jami'u li Ahkam al-Quran. It is one of the most famous tafsirs available. And they said that this book here, right, look at that, this so-called Noble Quran, it says here a summarized version of At-Tabari, and there's At-Tabari, right? Which is Tafsir At-Tabari, Al-Qurtubi, the Tafsir of Al-Qurtubi, right? And Ibn Kathir, right? With comments from Sahih al-Bukhari. Look at the games they play. They said this is a summary, what? Of At-Tabari, Tafsir At-Tabari, and I'll bring that again later to see what At-Tabari said. Al-Qurtubi, what Al-Qurtubi said. They said it's a summary, so they looked at it. And Ibn Kathir with comments from Sahih al-Bukhari. Okay, let's see how it matches. Go ahead.
The compendium of the rules of the Quran, from which he mainly omitted the stories and histories customary in other commentaries, and recorded instead the legal rulings contained in the Quran and how scholars have inferred them, together with canonical readings, Qirat, Arabic grammar, in which verses abrogate others in which are abrogated, Nasikh wa Mansukh. Scholars have used it extensively ever since it was written. It
Read
is
that again. Al-Jami li-Ahkam al-Quran. Again, scholars
have used it extensively ever since it was written.
One more time.
Scholars have used it extensively ever since it was written.
For good measure, one more time.
Scholars have used it extensively ever since it was written.
So this ain't some any old book. The scholars from the 7th century to today have used it extensively ever since it was written. Not 200 years ago. We're going back from the 7th century, Hijri. We're in the 15th, so 800 years the scholars have relied upon this book. Go ahead.
It is related that Qurtubi disdained heirs and used to walk about in a simple kaftan with a plain cap, tekiya, on his head. He traveled east and settled in Munya Abi el-Qusayb in Upper Egypt, where he died in 671.
Tayyib. So here, I want you to go to Surah Mulk, and I'll help you. They say, and they mentioned it over there, that Allah is above his throne. They say this. That's the place for Allah. They said, i.e., this is on page 9, so you don't think I'm making it. You see the thing, making it up. This is what they say in this so-called Noble Quran. They got it there. I'll put it. They said, in that line, I don't know why I get the reflection here. I gotta turn it a little bit. They said Allah is present over his throne, as mentioned in the Quran, verse 25. The most beneficent Allah istawa, rose over the mighty throne, over the 7 heavens, and he only comes down. You see these words. So I won't say, well, he made up. No, that's what they said. Allah is present over his throne. That's what they say. This is invalid to believe. It's invalid to believe Allah is in a place. Not because Amin and Muhammad said it. That belief, to put Allah in a location, is kufr. It's not permissible to believe that Allah is in a place. But this is what they're spreading. And they put on the covers that this is what we got from the scholars. At-Tabari, Al-Qurtubi, Ibn Kathir, and comments from Al-Bukhari. Let's go there. So go to Surah Mulk, Surah 67, verses 16 and 17. And this is their translation. Mulk 16 and 17, right? Surah Mulk 67. This is on page 885. They read these verses. Do you feel secure that he who is over the heaven, A'amantum man fis sama? How do they understand A'amantum man fis sama? They said that this is Allah. will not cause the earth to sink with you, then behold, it shakes as an earthquake. Then the next verse, or do you feel secure that he who is over the heavens, and they put in parentheses, Allah, they put this, will not send against you a violent whirlwind, and then you shall know how terrible has been my warning. Okay, they saying that Allah is above the heavens, and that's where he is. Here's Al-Qurtubi, Al-Jami li-Ahkam al-Quran, li-Abi Abdullah Muhammad ibn Ahmed al-Ansari Al-Qurtubi. This is the original text. How did Al-Qurtubi, what did he say? There's the verse 15 and 16. Right? There's the verses. Let me get it. Here. 15 and 16. I know my light is bad here. 15 and 16, right? 15 and 16. How did he explain it? He said, its meaning is the one whose power and dominion and his throne and rulership is above the heavens. Why does he mention the heavens? Because it covers his dominion, and it's understood from that, giving you aware that the Creator, his power is above the heaven, in the heaven, and no one is magnified, and no one magnifies him in the earth. Excuse me. And the one who is magnified is not in the earth, right? It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he said that it is said that this is an indication to the angels, and this is an indication to Jibril. And it is because he is the angel in charge of punishment. Right? So he said what? That it is mentioned Allah's dominion, Allah's power, not Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's essence. But here, more importantly, at the end of this statement is here. This is the most important part of that whole commentary, right? I'm going to read it because I know it's difficult to see, but you have the page. This is on page 163. He said, 163. He said that, let me slow down. Sometimes I get so excited and I'll be going too fast. It's like, he said that what is intended by these verses is giving Allah reverence and declaring Allah transcendent above being low and base and being underneath, and to describe him with exaltedness and magnitude, not by places and directions and limits, because these are attributes of bodies. Listen to that. He said, it is describing Allah with loftiness and magnitude, high status, greatness. لا بالأماكن والجهات والحدود لأنها صفات الأجسام. Not describing Allah with places, with directions, with limits, because these are attributes of bodies. He said, we raise our hands in dua to the sky because it is the place from where revelation comes. Right? And it is the place, the location of the pure angels, and where the deeds of the servant rise, and the heavens and paradise is above it. Just as Allah made the Kaaba, the Qibla for dua and salat. Now listen what he says. because Allah created places and He does not need them. Allahu Akbar. Al-Qurtubi. Allah is the one who created places and He is not in need of them. And here's that line that we say all the time. And He was in eternity, in Al-Azal, وَكَانَ فِي أَزَلِهِ قَبْلَ خَلْقِ الْمَكَانِ وَالزَّمَانِ, before He created time and place. وَلَا مَكَانَ لَهُ وَلَا زَمَانِ, and there was no place for Him and no time. وَهُوَ الْآنَ عَلَى مَا عَلَيْهِ كَانَ, and He is now as He always been, without a place nor time. I mean, Muhammad didn't say that. That's Imam Al-Qurtubi. Look at that. Read it. Wakana, and I'll go here where I started. Right there. Right there. Wakana fi azalihi qabla khalqil makan. Right? والزمان ولا مكان له ولا زمان وهو الآن على ما عليه كان. There's the book. There's the page. 163. There's the tafsir. I mean, Muhammad didn't make it up. Al-Qurtubi didn't say Allah is in heaven. He said Allah exists without a place. That's Imam Al-Qurtubi. There's the book. You said, they put in their book, this is a summary of Al-Qurtubi. Did Al-Qurtubi say that Allah is in heaven? No, absolutely not. He said Allah exists without a place. This is Al-Qurtubi. And Nawawi said that Allah is not described with transferring from location, that Allah does not describe with movement. It's consistent with Imam Al-Qurtubi said. He said that those are attributes of bodies. When you describe Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala with those things, places, directions, they are attributes of bodies, which is not befitting of Allah. That's Al-Qurtubi. And here's my thing. When we read this, we should say, wow, he said, and I put it here, there. It's very difficult. He said, وَلَا بِالْأَمَاكِنِ وَالْجِهَاتِ وَالْحُدُودِ لِأَنَّهَا صِفَاتُ الْأَجْسَامِ. Right there. Look at that. Not by places, directions, limits, because these are attributes of bodies. That's Al-Qurtubi. That's Al-Qurtubi. So now, don't get mad at Ameen Muhammad. These are the scholars of Islam. You put on the covers of your book that you refer to them. Why did you leave out what they said and give an aqidah that they don't believe? Explain. Go to Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani. That's two. We got An-Nawawi. He said that. He died 676. You got Al-Qurtubi, who died 671. One lived in Spain and one was in Damascus. They wasn't next door. So they had the same belief, great scholars. They had the same aqidah. What do we say? Go to Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani.
Ibn Hajar Asqalani is Ahmed ibn Ali ibn Muhammad al-Kinani, Abu al-Fadl Shihab al-Din ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, born in Cairo in 773. A Shafi'i Imam and Hadith master, Hafid, he reached the level of commander of the faithful in Hadith, the only rank above that of Hadith master, Hafid. He first learned literature and poetry, but then devoted his considerable talents to Hadith, which he studied under the renowned African master, Al-Zilai, and others in Cairo, Yemen, and the Hijaz. His works were popular in his own lifetime and were hand copied by the greatest scholars of the era and given by kings to one another as gifts. Known as Sheikh al Islam, scholars traveled to take knowledge from him. He was appointed to the judiciary in Egypt several times. He authored a number of works on hadith, history, biography, Quranic exegesis, poetry, and Shafi'i jurisprudence. Among the most famous of them, his 14-volume Fath Abadi bi Shah Sahib al-Bukhari, The Victory of the Creator, a commentary on the Sahih of Bukhari, which few serious students of Islamic knowledge can do without. He died in Cairo in 852.
Okay, so that's Ibn Hajar. His book, Fathul Bari, Bishar Sahih al-Bukhari. Read that line again. His 14-volume, among the most famous of them. What? Read that again.
Among the most famous of them, his 14-volume Fath al-Bari bi Shah Sahih al-Bukhari.
Keep reading.
The Victory of the Creator, a commentary on the Sahih of Bukhari, which few serious students of Islamic knowledge can do without.
Read that. Which few serious students?
Which few serious students of Islamic knowledge can do without.
One more time for good measure.
Which few serious students of Islamic knowledge can do without.
So we agree that this book is a reliable book, but if you're serious about your deen, you can't leave it off. This is the reality. Let's see what he said about that same hadith that they mentioned, that Allah comes down in the last third of the night. Here it is, Fathul Bari, Bishar Sahih al-Bukhari, right? Volume 4, Al-Risalat al-Alamiyya. That's the publishing company. Page 352 and 353. Here's the book. He talks about the hadith, and it's here by my finger. You see where I have the thing. قوله ينزل ربنا إلى السماء الدنيا. Right? There it is. Look, and I'm going to read it. Right? It's available. He said, استدل به من أثبت الجهة. He said, the people who try to affirm a direction for Allah, they try to use this as a proof. Ibn Hajar, look. There it is. Here. Look at that. I'll make it close. He said, قوله ينزل ربنا إلى السماء الدنيا. That statement, which they translate, which is not befitting, they said that our Lord descends to the lowest heaven, the heavens of the earth, right? He said, istadalla bihi man athbat al-jiha. Those who attribute a place to Allah, a location, a direction to Allah, they try to use this as a proof, right? He said, and then he goes on, he said, وَقَالَ هِيَ جِهَةُ الْعُلُو. This is the direction of above. He said, وَأَنْكَرَ ذَلِكَ الْجَمْهُورِ. And the majority of the scholars negate that. لِأَنَّ الْقَوْلَ بِذَلِكَ يُفْدِي إِلَى التَّهَيُّزِ تَعَالَى اللَّهِ عَنْ ذَلِكَ. Because such a statement that Allah is in a direction, it leads, it pushes one towards at-tahayyuz, to being in a location, residing in a location, being confined in a location. Ta'ala Allahi and dhalik. And Allah is clearly exalted above such a description. That's Imam al-Nawawi. He said, وَقَدْ اختلف في معنى النزول. And the scholars different for the meaning of nuzul. على الأقوال, and many statements. But let's just read the first one, because the point is made. He said, among them are those who take it on its literal and real meaning. He said, وَهُمُ الْمُشَبِّهَةِ تَعَالَى اللَّهِ and قَوْلِهِمْ. There. Look at that. That's Ibn Hajar. He said, among those are they who take it ala dhahirihi wa haqiqatihi, on its literal and its real meaning. And what did he say? Wahumul mushabbiha. They are those who liken Allah to his creation. Ta'ala Allahi and qawlihim. Allah is clear from their saying. That's Ibn Hajar. There's the page. It's not Imam Amin. That's Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani. He negated it. So who is correct? Do we accept them or do we accept An-Nawawi, Al-Qurtubi, Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani? Are all of our scholars wrong in Aqidah? And now you know when those people among us whom we love from our heart, but they are misguided in these issues, when they say Aqidah don't matter. We don't need to talk. All you need to know is the basics. And then they give you this stuff as the basics. Wal-iyadhu billah. Don't teach correct Aqidah. Now listen. This is going to get rough because they have these books. They have these books. Why are you not taking the knowledge from the books? Why are you making your own stuff right in the face of true scholarship, classical scholarship? Tell me, explain. Everyone's talking about where's your dalil? I'm on the scripture, book and sunnah. Here's book and sunnah. Here's the ulama that Allah said about them. إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهَ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ الْعُلَمَاء. Verily the ones who truly fear Allah are the scholars, the ulama. The Prophet ﷺ said, إِنَّمَا الْعُلَمَاء وَرَثَةُ الْأَنْبِيَاء. That the ulama, they are the real only inheritors of the prophets, and they inherit knowledge. Okay, explain. It boils down to this, my brothers and sisters. Either our religion has reached us by generations of liars and ignorant people who didn't know what to believe in Allah, and we have a religion that was conveyed by them to us, and now, or do we accept some modernist reinterpretation of Islamic belief that has always been rejected by our scholars? Which one are we going to accept? And here's what I say. Here's the books, and this is what I tell you. Where are they at? We read them. Sharh Sahih Muslim. It's not English, it's Arabic. Maybe I'm an American and I don't understand Arabic well. It's possible. But here's the book. You understand Arabic. You explain what they said. Right? I showed you. Here's the book. Here's the publishing company. Here's the volumes. These are the page numbers. Nothing is hidden. Here's the statement of Imam An-Nawawi. Everything is there. I can't hide it. That's what he said. Here's Al-Qurtubi. Here's the publication. This is Darul Fiqh's version. This is the volume number 9, Surah Mulk. There's the statement of Al-Qurtubi. It's there, right? Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, Fathul Bari, published by Ar-Risalatul Alamiyya, volume number 4. There is the page number. Al-Hafiz Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, page 352 and 353. There it is. It's the statement. It's right there. He said it. He said that Allah is clear from the saying of the Mushabbihah to take it literally and apparently. That's Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani. So when you're talking about Allah moves and Allah said he descends and Allah said he got hands and Allah said he got eyes, they said that is not permissible. Who are we going to take? You or those great scholars? The problem is they hid this stuff from us and they took away this. Y'all don't know Arabic, so we're going to take that away. And this is for you, the new version, the new interpretation. But we're going to tell you, you know, it came from the real stuff. See, it came from the real stuff. No more of that. We want the real stuff. We want to know what our unbroken chain of narration said. This is reality. And you know what it comes down to? It comes down to them. They're saying that all of our scholars were bad in belief. They didn't understand Aqidah. They were mistaken. But may Allah forgive them for their mistakes. But we got the real Aqidah that they all disagreed with. So if I'm going to take my chances in learning, I'm going to go with An-Nawawi, Al-Qurtubi, Al-Hafidh ibn Hajar al-Asqalani. If I'm going to take a chance, all of them who were Huffaz of Hadith, masters of the Arabic language, masters of the Quranic sciences, unbroken chain of narration, and everybody that came after them, including you who called them deviant and Aqidah, rely on their books. If I'm taking a chance, I'm going with that. If I'm taking a chance, if I'm going to take a chance in my Aqidah, I'm going to take a chance in my belief, I'm going with the professionals. I'm going with the masters of the religion. I'm going with the ones who reach that high status. Here's the proof. Granted, I may be totally mistaken in my abilities, but I read it. I look well. That's what I understood. That's what the Arabic language that I know told me. Explain. How did you get from that to this? How did you get from that clear scholarship that tells you Allah is not in a place, is not in a direction, Allah does not have limits, and you get to putting Allah in a place, saying Allah is heaven, saying Allah has bodily attributes? How did you get there? It wasn't that it's not available. It's available. And with that, tonight, this is the true Aqidah of Ahl Sunnah. So when we approach this situation on the round table, no more, you my man, and you know, I'm giving you a break. Not in this issue. No breaks. And truth must be told over anything else. But we do it in the best way. But we got to explain the truth. So those who want scripture, those who want scholarship, here's scripture, here's scholarship. That's it. And this can go on and on and on and on with scholars. I just slowed down. And I just limited it so you can see yourself. And I gave you that reliance. I showed you the biography. I showed you what the scholar said. Now, either you just an obstinate rejecter or something's wrong with your intellect. One or the other. There is no third possibility. You either an obstinate rejecter or something is wrong with your intellect. Da'iful aql. Because there's no way you can look at that. These words are explicit. They don't even bear another meaning the way they said it. Clearly, Allah is not in a place. Allah is not in a direction. Allah does not have attributes of bodies. And how do you come up with that stuff? After that, how do you come up with it? I say this. I'll leave it to you to think about it. As the listening audience, attendees, brothers and sisters in Islam, I leave you to, you weigh it out. You use your intellect. You use your mind. You think about the situation, critically think, no blind following, think about it. And you tell me how you get to ascribing Allah real hands and eyes and moving and rest. It doesn't even make sense. But if you suspend your aql, you suspend your intellect, and you rely solely on naql without thinking, you're going to become a knucklehead. This is real. So I'll open up for quick questions. Let's remember, we only got an extension for 30 minutes, but I don't want to use the whole 30 minutes. Brother Imam, what Quran do you have that do not have what you're explaining? Unfortunately, all of the English translation have errors. And I don't say they were all intentional. I think I know this was intentional. I know what this was about, right? No doubt about it. This was an intentional campaign to misguide the Muslims. I got that. And to spread false Wahhabi, so-called Salafi beliefs. So I know what that was about. As for the other ones, they might have just been not knowing the Islamic sciences. So a person doesn't know Islamic Aqidah, but he knows Arabic and English. So when he translates, he just translates literally because he doesn't know Aqidah. He didn't learn the science of Aqidah. So he's going to make mistakes. And it may be not intentional, and he may not even believe the mistakes he made. So he may know better, but not know how to translate properly. Let me explain something to you, really. A lot of the problems with people who utter things that are not befitting about Allah is because they don't know how to express. It may not necessarily that they believe the way it came out. So sometimes the words come out, the person doesn't believe what they're saying, but they don't know how to articulate what they believe, so it comes out wrong. That happens a lot. And when you talk to people and you be on it, even the Taqiyuddin Uthmani edition has mistakes in English. Even it has mistakes. I'll show you one real quick. Hold on one second. We have a lot of work to do. May Allah reward those for the effort. But I want to show you something. I read this when they gave this to me. It's nice though. It's pretty. Great job, right? Here, this is their new Taqiy's big. Sorry, colors. This is the new Taqiyuddin Uthmani Quran, the Noble Quran translation, right? The one you just mentioned. Here, Surah Taha, verse 5, right? If you can see that. Surah 20, verse 5, right? You see that? I can't, but there it is. Yeah, there you go. It says, the beneficent, no, Ar-Rahman, is it? I can't see without my glasses. Hold on. Sorry, it gets little, I can't see it. So I want you to see it. How can I bring this over? Good. Look at surah number 20. Look how they translated verse number 5. The Rahman, Allah, the All-Merciful, has positioned himself on the throne. That is a horrible translation. Did you see that? I'll bring it up so you can see it. There it is. Verse 5. Surah Taha, verse 5, right? The Rahman, Allah, the All-Merciful, has positioned himself on the throne. This is not valid to say that about Allah. Right? Not valid. You cannot say Allah positioned himself on the throne. This is not valid. That's istaqarra. That means he settled. He established himself. That's not valid. No footnote. Just left like that. No footnote. This is not valid. And Taqiyuddin Uthmani, I have ijazah from him. He's a person of correct creed, but these translations be a mistake. They sometimes not thinking about things, not understanding, they're errors. They're dangerous errors, especially in the face of Wahhabism. So when I say to you, I'm not speaking, listen, so you understand with me. I'm just talking about with myself. I don't blind follow nobody. I don't do that. I read, I study, I spent most of my life doing this. So when I'm talking, I got the evidence. I got the books. That's my life. That's what I do. And I keep telling you, we need more people like that. Many, many people that just engage in research and study. We got to get serious, or else. We have to get serious, or else. If we don't have our own teachers that can read the books, and it ain't that as many, they read better than me. They're way better than me. They don't got the time. They don't have the time. They're not supported to do the work, right? So, I mean, that I know it always comes to that, but you get to see how real it is. If you listen to what I just showed you today, and you don't see how serious this is, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. If all this evidence, clear as day, it's like someone screaming from the top of a mountain, an army is coming to invade, and you stand there and looking, and then he shows you the army coming, and you don't prepare. I don't know what to tell you. It's always on the internet. They saying we was coming after the Capitol. We're coming after the Capitol. We're coming to D.C. and you're not prepared. I don't know who to blame but you. All over the internet, all over they tell you they're coming. You don't prepare. Oh, I'm missing something. Did I miss? Was that for me or I missed something? Was that for me? Thank you for your response, but it's clear to me that you may have misunderstood my question. I didn't see your question, so that must have not been for me. That's somebody else? Nora, was that for me? What did I miss? I didn't see it. Oh, that's y'all talking on the side. Oh, okay. I didn't see your question. I'm sorry. That's a good question. I'm going to go to questions. You have your questions put up, but I'm going to answer this question. What is the goal for tonight's roundtable? Once you've presented the correct Aqidah, specifically for those who articulate that they do not accept the correct creed, right? I apologize if this was already stated. It wasn't stated. Here's a catch. You know, this is the hard part about this for us that we got to accept. There is a such thing as truth and falsehood. There is a such thing as truth and falsehood. So our job is to establish the truth and clear falsehood. But that doesn't throw people away. We still can cooperate with people in ways that are beneficial for all of us, while not blurring the lines of creed and practice. In other words, because you don't have the same creed as me, that doesn't mean that we can't cooperate to make a better world. That's not problematic, that's necessary. We need to cooperate. However, when it becomes problematic is when you want to put a false creed as valid in Islam and then say we all have different beliefs and it's all okay. That's not okay. So for instance, we work with Christians and Jews, right? And others, atheists for that matter, to make a better world. We work together, we do research together, whatever we do, community work, we build things, construction projects together, whatever. We work to make a better world. However, they're Christians, we're Muslims, they're Jewish. When we understand the difference, then we agree to work together where we can, and we don't cross the lines of convictions. But if I'm going to be on a platform with someone who has an invalid belief, I have to clarify that this belief is not acceptable so others don't fall into it. So that's the goal. Now, some people, they want to say, it doesn't matter, let's just all do the same thing. No, there's rules in the religion. Our religion has rules. When we talked about the beginning of Sunnah Tawfiq, there is a section in there called apostasy. And we said that apostasy is of three types: apostasy in beliefs, apostasy in practice, apostasy in words. Some beliefs are invalid and they lead to kufr. And we cannot say that that's a valid Islamic belief. The one who puts Allah in a place and gives Allah organs and limbs, this is not permissible to believe. And even if that one likes it, we can't say that's okay. So once we have that established, even if you believe those things, we don't accept. That's clear. We don't got to spend all day talking about that. Once it's clear and understood, and we don't have the worry of people being misguided by those ideas, then we work in other things. We work in other things, and it works. But I'm telling you, too many people get misguided because we remain silent. So you got people who reading these books, taking these understandings, and falling out of Islam by them. We cannot do that. That's not permissible. So someone is saying that Aqidah is not important. We just have basic Aqidah. And the basic Aqidah is this stuff. This is not valid. This is not valid at all. We cannot accept it, right? And that doesn't mean I hate you. It just means that that's not permissible. And we got to explain that that's not permissible. Is that point clear? I hope I'm clear. And I already told y'all, don't take my passion as anger or arguing. It's just the way I talk. I haven't learned to be, in reality, that's just not me. I'm sorry, I can't do it. Even when I try, it don't work. That's not me. So don't take my heightened voice and my tone and my intonation and my energy to mean I'm arguing or I'm angry. I'm not. It's just me. This is the way I talk. Any other questions? There were other questions. We got a couple of minutes. And listen, we need to be grown enough, mature enough to have conversations and differ and still move on. You adults can do that. The world, you have to do that. You can't say, because you don't agree with me, let's fight. That doesn't work. You're going to destroy the world, and we all have an obligation to maintain the world. So we can disagree and learn to work through our disagreements. And we don't just say, okay, let's compromise our principles. No, we're going to maintain our principle, but we don't got to fight. I respect you have that belief. You respect I have that belief. And what I mean respect, that's where you at. We can dialogue. We can communicate. We can try to change each other's ideas. We can do that. But I don't got to shed your blood to do that. I don't have to do that, right? I don't have to hate you and now I can't do nothing with you. No, that's not how the world works. But we have to have honest dialogue. And we can't play, see, because if we don't have honest dialogue, then they win. How do they win? Because you remain silent and they're going to spread their bad beliefs. And you can't allow that. Not without something confronting it. You have to confront it. You have to. Now there's multiple ways to do that. This is a painful topic. Trust me, I understand. Okay. What did Shaitan promise to Allah? You mean that he's going to lay on the straight path and try to misguide people? That is the case. Yes, that is the case. I mean, sort of Ayatul Kursi, it is, you have the same problem if you misunderstand. You have to understand correct Aqidah, and that's a lesson. And that's why I promise this year, I'm going to spend the whole year teaching the correct creed. Book after book after book after book, so that we are well established in the creed. That's not something we're going to do overnight. Even these next three round tables are just going to be clearing up mess. But teaching is another level. We have to learn. We can't just be, a few talking points. Nah, we got to learn our religion. All this stuff I'm talking about, not everybody got to do it. Not everyone got to do all this research. Some people have to do that. But everyone got to know the conclusion of the proper belief. Now, how we got there, some people need to know it. As long as you got the correct belief and you're certain of that, you're fine. Right? So that's the basics. You know the correct belief, right? You say, I know Allah exists without a place. But the details of it, I might not know, but the scholars have that. And if we need details, we'll go to the learned people, right? The people of knowledge. But if you're confronted with it, you better know the proofs. Because you're confronted with somebody tell you Allah's in heaven, and you must believe that Allah is above his throne, which is invalid belief. So you better be able to answer that. Hence, that's why we have all the books and all the scholars and what they said. That's why. You know, our sister Nora, she does engineering. She knows how cars are put together. We don't, we just drive, right? She knows the details of that. We don't, we just drive. But if we get a problem, we're going to go back to the experts. What's wrong with this car? Oh, it's a recall. There was a malfunction. Bring this car back because this piece eventually is going to malfunction. The professionals know that. Not every driver need to know that, but every driver need to know that their car is safe. If you want to get by analogy. So not everyone needs to know the detailed proofs of Aqidah, but everyone needs to know the right Aqidah so that they're safe on the day of judgment. If you get, is that analogy clear? I hate to use you, Sister Nora, but you're the one I know have the professional skills that really highlight the point. Because if she don't do her job right, somebody's going to die. So that's how serious it is. And if the scholars and the learned people don't do their job right, someone's going to end up in hellfire. So it's serious. Yes, that's the reality. Students of knowledge, teachers, we got to teach. We can't replace, you cannot rely on books. Books don't talk. Books don't talk. Books do not talk. Living teachers talk. No matter how many books we got, we still need living teachers that explain details and errors and finer points, you need that all the time. Yes. And that's what we're doing. And believe me, there's many people who know what I'm saying. They just don't want to go on the firing line. Believe me, don't think Imam Amin is some like he's the one that got it all. La, that's not the case. You got brothers and sisters who know this creed, but I'm honest. A lot of them, they ain't willing to take the heat because we're outnumbered, we're outfinanced, out-resourced, out-marketed, however that is pronounced. And some people, they got to worry about their livelihood. I just happen not to be one of them. They don't support me anyway. And I don't rely on them. So I don't need to go on tour with a bunch of Wahhabis. I don't. I'm going to be all right, inshallah. I have a strong community that support me, that if they all boycotted me, it wouldn't make a difference, right? So, but everybody might not be in that position. I don't need to get on ISNA's board and talk on their platform, so I got to adjust what I say. I don't need that. But, so, I mean, that's just my situation. But others who may be more knowledgeable than me know this stuff better than me, but they don't have my situation, so they can't talk like me. It ain't that they don't believe what I believe. They just can't speak like I speak because they're not in my position. Because if they speak like me, they might not get invited to the next event. And when you're talking about 2,000, 3,000 for every 2-hour, 1-hour speech, vacations, trips to Hajj and Umrah, I'm not saying that's the only reason they do it, but it's your livelihood. Because it's not like where you learned that this wasn't clearly explained. I give you an example, and I'm going to hit one up. I'm going to hit him up just to hit him up, but I'm not going to mention his name. Those who know who I know, and those who don't, don't. You got guys talking about, I studied in Azhar. I'm Azhari. And then coming with Wahhabi Aqidah. Anyone who knows Azhar, who knows the history of Azhar, know that Azhar belief is Ash'ari straight up and down. The Azhari scholars are Azhari. Everyone knows that. Study the books in the curriculum of real Azhar, that which is taught in the Jam'iyah, in the Jamia, in the university, and the Jami', in the mosque of Azhar. Go in the mosque of Azhar and see the books they teach. Read the scholars of Azhar with an unbroken chain and read what they teach. And then somebody talking about, I'm Azhari and I studied in Azhar with Sheikh so-and-so, with Sheikh so-and-so, and you got Wahhabi belief. That is a delusion and a lie. Right? And what happened in Azhar today is pitiful. That Azhar has now succumbed in the classrooms, in the university, to Wahhabi influence. And that's why you have those great imams like Ali Juma and the other scholars of Azhar. Go on YouTube and listen to them. But the politics get them out. And then you start finding people start slowly but surely injecting into Azhar bad beliefs. But the Azhar, the classical, traditional Azhar, is Ash'ari, following the 4 schools. And let me explain to you, I got the books. We ain't talking. We're not just talking about, no. I have the books. I have students. I was in Azhar myself. I understand. I have the stuff. So it's not like I'm talking secondhand. And I know the history of Azhar. I have the books of Azhar written by the scholars. Don't tell me the scholars of Azhar had that Wahhabi belief you talking. Knock it off. But they're fooling people online. We can take this and the Sufis. Azhar is Sufi. What are you talking about? Azhar is Sufi, Ash'ari, Sufi, following madhabs. What are you talking about? And yet you do got some of those graduates who graduate from Azhar, but they are Wahhabi. They're not Azhari. Let's not play games. Let's not play games. Right? And that's just being real. But guess what? Some of us don't know that. So the guys out there being a salesman, fixing up mixing falsehood and truth together and giving you some new deen. Man, get lost. And just be honest. I'm a Wahhabi. That's my thing. I got these Wahhabi beliefs. Don't mix them. Tell the truth. If that's what you believe, that's what you believe. Allah guides whom he wills and misguides whom he wills. If you think that's guidance, mashallah, who can? I can't do nothing about that. But the fact that you mixing it all up and trying to create a new doctrine and say this is moderation and this is how we should be, and then transfer that to the Azhari scholars, man, knock it off. Stop. The great scholars of Azhar, they don't believe that, and you know it. And their books speak loud in volumes. Come on, stop. And for us, it's dangerous when people do that. I'd rather just deal with you who you are. But when you got this cloak and dagger thing going on, cloak and dagger, I'm telling you this, but really, as soon as this comes, this is what's happening. Nah, who are you, man? Be honest. Who are you? Stand up. You know the Shia do that. They have one belief, but they tell you something else. So you'll be in a line with a Shia, he acting like a Sunni, but he's Shia. And he's playing those games with belief to try to deceive you. Those type of games. Nah, we as a people, we can't afford that. We need truth. And that's why we're going to straighten the issue. Put that back up. That's why we have to, and I fear that. That's why I have to straighten the issue, because I'm seeing it happen. For those who do not accept the correct creed and continue to be on the Imam's roundtable, do you think that they may be using this as a platform to spread their belief? Not intentionally to be deceptive, but people will share what they believe. I agree. That's why I say we have to straighten the issue, to clear the air, right? I agree with you. That is happening. I watch it. I watch it every day. I just don't comment because I'm like, we'll have this discussion publicly. And we don't got to harm each other, but we'll have this discussion. We ain't going to play back and forth Facebook posts. I ain't doing that. You got the books. I got the books. We got the books. Let's clarify for our people, because the purpose of the Black Imams Roundtable is to help our people. And if we don't help our people in the foundations of belief, I don't know how we're going to help them in anything else. Honestly, if we start off deceiving them in the creed, how can they trust us for other things? How can they trust us with our money? How can they trust us with their money? How can they trust us to lead them when we deceive them from the start? I don't see how you can trust me if I'm going to lie to you. At least I don't see it. I want someone to be honest. If I'm going to give somebody my money, I want to trust them. I want to know that you don't got all these books in your house and you come telling me something that contradicts it. I want to know that. You got all these books, you read them in your house, you got them, and you coming out with something different. That's deceit, or you not reading the books and you fronting. Which one? You have them, so why you come with this whole new stuff? You got the books. You always talking about Arabic. You read Arabic. What the heck is the problem? This is something to think about. Now, if I say that, I'm a bully. I'm arguing. I don't got no respect. I'm a loud mouth. I'm a show off. Okay, whatever. Get to the point. Why you have the true books of Ahl Sunnah and you spreading something else? Don't divert. Don't deflect. Deal with the issue, because it's a problem. You got the right knowledge, but give us something else. What the heck is that? You got the right knowledge, you got the books, but give us something else. Give us something else. Here, y'all don't need all of y'all ignorant Negroes. Man, get out of here. We're not stupid. We're not stupid. We are very intelligent people. We built this nation. We're not stupid people. But if you hide the knowledge from us, then we don't have a choice because we only got what you're giving us. And you're shortchanging us. So it ain't us, it's you being deceitful. And I know it comes out rough. But believe me, I tried behind scenes to talk. I try to do issues. We tried. It ain't working. All right. So at least I can't be responsible for that. We say this and then you go say that. Nah. We're not going to do that. And don't got to take it personal because I've proven my love to you. Right? I love you, no doubt about it. But I don't love bad belief. And I don't love mistaken understanding of the deen. So there's two different things. Right? There's two different things. So with truth, we got to establish. And the only reason I say it publicly, because it's being said publicly. It's being said publicly. And don't think I don't see. I see. I just don't say nothing a lot of times because I'm looking at the long picture. But when it gets too far, I have to stop it. Everything you don't stop immediately. You see where it's going. You see maybe, inshallah. But when it becomes clear that I'm stuck on this, nah, that got to be confronted. Period. And it's never personal. After we have, Imam Fahim says it best. We come from the city. We're going to go to the body. We're going to bang it up. And after we bang it up, we're going to go get something to eat. But since, you talking, right? All right, we're going to bang it up. We're going to go to each other's body. And if you bust up, we're going to take you to the hospital, get your ribs taped up, and then we're going to go get something to eat. And don't do that again. And that's it. That's a ghetto analogy, but it works. All right, we went over time. La ilaha illallah. I love y'all. 2 minutes left. So I guess y'all know. And listen, I want you to be honest. The round table, we're going to get the job done. I'm telling you, inshallah. And we ain't going to leave nobody behind. We're going to have our family mix up. We're going to go ahead and discuss the issue. And we're going to move on. And we're going to keep building. We almost at that $10,000 mark. We got a little over 8,000. Tonight, inshallah, we can finish this 2,000. And we keep working. We okay. We okay. Don't think we're going to fall apart because it ain't at the heart level. We're at the intellect level. The heart is the belief. But I'm talking about in terms of the thing with intellectual talk, we're discussing, right? Academics, education. But we're not going to let it go. The round table's at 7 o'clock. Put the flyer up, please, quickly. So don't think no love lost. You just got to go to the body sometimes. And, because, we love each other. And if we love each other, we're going to tell each other the truth. Even if it's bitter. The Prophet said, قُلِ الْحَقْ وَلَوْ كَانَ مُرًّا. Speak the truth even if it's bitter. Sometimes the truth hurts. And as, what's her name? Fahim, what's the rapper girl that used to be with Public Enemy? Sister Soldier. If the truth hurts, you'll be in pain. If the truth drives you crazy, you'll be insane. MashaAllah, y'all funny. All right, barakallahu bikum. May Allah forgive us for any mistakes we make. May Allah overlook our shortcomings. And may Allah guide us all to Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah, to the correct creed of the Asha'ira wal Maturidiyya, and to be away from those invalid creeds of Al-Mushabbiha and Al-Mujassima, and those who follow their path. Wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Bisir Asrar al-Fatiha.